Hello guys, y'all really seem to like my content about school, so that's why I want to talk about middle school. Middle school was a very interesting place, I must say, and you can meet a lot of interesting people there, and I would really like to talk about it. So here's the types of people in middle school. First up, we have the kid who is like 14 but looks like he's 9 or 10. He absolutely has no testosterone in his body, up to the point where he looks like a small child. These people usually get the piss for looking like that and are made fun of constantly. And are not necessarily fat or chubby, but they have a chubby face which makes them look childish. These guys' hobbies are something like, I don't know, video games. Their grades can range from good to bad, it really doesn't matter, and their popularity is really low. Usually these guys are the ones who have like a really high-pitched voice and are constantly made fun of for that too. Sometimes these guys' lifestyle is causing them to look younger, but sometimes also these guys just haven't hit puberty yet, and sure. Next up, we have the opposite of this guy. This guy is like 13 or 14 but looks 16 or 17. They usually somehow grow facial hair at that age, and their face structure and body structure really just points to them like ending puberty, like being 17 rather than being in middle school. They're always tall and muscular and have a deep tone. This guy is the opposite of the last guy. He gets the respect from all other people at the school because, I mean, just look at him and the way he acts. This guy maybe went through some bad stuff, which is probably what caused him to look and be more mature than others, but these guys are becoming rarer and rarer nowadays, while the younger looking guys are becoming more prevalent than ever. This guy is usually the one that goes to the gym, takes care of his diet, is in a loving relationship and has lots of friends, but that can vary. Maybe luck and genetics just hit him to look older. His grades can also vary, and his popularity can be like somewhat popular to like being the most popular kid. Next up, we have the wannabe popular kid. This guy tries literally everything to become popular. He hangs around popular kids, he acts like popular kids, he's mean to anyone that isn't popular and copies the popular kids in literally everything. However, the popular kids don't want to accept him and just kind of ignore. I feel sorry for this guy because he genuinely is trying so hard, but it never works. Like on breaks, this guy will just follow them around, and it's really sad and funny at the same time, just looking at that. In my experience, these guys can also have varying physiques and grades and height. Their hobbies usually consist of video games and sports, and probably don't take care of themselves just to be closer with the popular kids. Like, from personal experience, everyone just looks at me weird when I don't take the chocolate or something on the school break, but I really don't care. This guy would care because, as I said, he will do anything to get popular and get closer and hang out with the popular kids. Next up, we have the desperate kid. This is the desperate kid. Rather, he's desperate to have a girlfriend. I you not. This guy will go to literally every girl and try to be in a relationship just to get a glimpse of He doesn't even aim for it to be loving or devoted or something. He just wants to be that guy that has a girlfriend and stuff. He's sorta ugly and doesn't really look appealing or intimidating. He is a hoe, but he never succeeds, unlike the male hoe. The male hoe is similar to the desperate kid, however he actually succeeds. I'm not saying that's good though, it isn't. But unlike the desperate kid, the male hoe usually is tall and can be skinny and look okay and stuff. His popularity can vary, but it's usually on the high end. As I said, this guy will go into any relationship just for the fun and sake of it, and not for it to be devoted or loving or something. I don't like both of these people personally, and while there was a lot of them at my middle school, I just really never got into that sway of things. Next up, we have the, in quotations, communist guy. First of all, this guy isn't really even a communist or a leftist. Like, this guy is usually homophobic and racist, and he probably just likes the Soviet Union's history. This guy doesn't know anything about politics or communism and just likes history, and probably had a very hard time choosing which country to base off his entire personality. Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union, and he chose the Soviet Union. These guys are never popular and are oftentimes also the quiet kid. Their hobbies include studying about history, armies, guns, etc. Their build can vary, but they're never very good looking or something. The next guy is very similar to this guy. It's the Nazi, of course. This guy is very similar to the communist. However, he actually believes in what he's saying. I am not saying that's good, but he does know what the sees it and he sadly agrees with what they did. I know it's terrible, but he's a middle schooler after all. He'll grow out of it. Unless you live in Croatia, then you won't grow out of it. The next up is the female hoe. The female hoe is very similar to the male hoe, as I said, and she's the one that will get into a relationship with literally any guy. These girls are on the high end when it comes to popularity, and in my experience actually, they're really ugly. Like, I don't find any girl attractive other than my girlfriend, but they're like below just being like, they're horrendous most of the time, and honestly they deserve it. Both the female and the male deserve to have their perception of love ruined because of their actions. Like, these girls will, keep in mind, this is middle school, go to the toilet and give some random guy in the stall. In middle school, outside they're always seen with guys making out or something, and every few days it's a new one. Their grades are also very low, and they can be average, but most of the time they're very low. Next up is the quiet kid. The quiet kid is a guy who just doesn't talk and isn't popular. These guys sit in the back of the class and only have a few friends. Their hobbies can consist of video games and guns and stuff, which the guns part scares me, to be honest, because of the way they act. Their grades can vary from average to bad and usually have a chubby physique and are oftentimes very short. I have been friends with these types of people though, and honestly sometimes they're not school types and generally just don't want to talk and are content with only having a few friends and not being very popular. And honestly, I respect that. Like, if that makes you happy, sure. Next up is the class clown. The class clown is a guy that just risks his entire life and career and everything just to be funny. Like, these guys usually have bad grades and teachers hate him, but the class likes him and that's his only goal after all. He exists just to entertain, and honestly, I love these guys, and their physiques and height can vary, but they're funny and charismatic, and honestly I love that. Like, this guy will just say the most out of pocket and random funny shit in the middle of class, and the entire class will be laughing while the teacher screams and yells at him. Honestly, it's funny. I respect this guy. Hi there. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. Thank you for the support, and I have seen y'all really like my school videos, so I will be making more of those in the future. Keep in mind this is only part 1, and I'm promising you middle school part 2 will be coming soon. And I know there's a lot of other types of people in middle school, so if you could just like leave a suggestion for what people I should add in the next part, that would be helpful. You know, thank you for the support and goodbye. Okay, so now for you who haven't who haven't clicked off right now, here's a 3K subscriber special. Bilo je junaka, bilo I bit će, sunce slobode sada nam sviće. Bilo je I onih koji nisu fair, ali jedan je Mauser. Okay, goodbye, this is cringe.